and then find my page.
Okay, I just look like I just saw it pop up on my phone. Yep, definitely.
Blah, 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 blah. New subscriber for my channel. Okay, so I need to be able to see. Okay, we are live. Yo, yo, yo. What is good, everybody? What is good, YouTube? What is good, gamers? It is your boy, Lincoln Clay, coming back at you. What's up, Ryan Landis? Akuri, Uncompetitive? How y'all all doing? Eric, yo, yo, what's good? What's good? Um, do me a favor. Hit the like button, help spread my content to a wider audience. I would appreciate it. And make sure you hit the bell icon so you can stay notified whenever I upload new content. I would appreciate that as well. If you are a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. I hope you are enjoying the content. And tonight we have a special edition of the Lincoln Show. My guest tonight is another one of my favorite YouTubers. Uh, and I owe this man a lot because he has been instrumental in helping my channel gain some momentum. Through this man, I have picked up a number of subscribers, and my channel is slowly but surely growing. And I really appreciate that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest, Sick Humor TV. Welcome to the show, my friend. Why don't you go ahead and run your intro?
Thank you for having me, Lincoln. I definitely do appreciate it. Shout out to everybody who comes through and everybody who's gonna watch this stream. The one thing I can say is, man, I definitely do support Lincoln Clay, man. So, if you guys want to, I mean, definitely subscribe to the channel. He makes a lot of content. He does live streams and he also makes videos. Uh, but man, I'm glad to be here, Lincoln, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Um, and before we get started, I definitely cannot thank you enough for helping me with my channel. I really appreciate it. Through you, through King Thrash, uh, Xbox Vidiot, Craig Harris helped spreading the word with my channel. I really appreciate it. It's slowly picking up the pace, but it's getting there. I really appreciate it. Um, so before we get into the gaming news, uh, I want to talk about your journey. I understand that you made some tremendous strides with your dieting and with the weight loss. And how's that going so far?
Well, you know what, man? It's been great, honestly. And shout out to Lincoln Clay, Craig Harris. They have seen me live on camera. For everybody who has no idea, they have seen me live on camera. So, for all the people who are like, "Oh man, I wonder how big this guy really is." It's not what you think, bruh. It really isn't what you think. But I'm definitely gonna go live with my viewers as well. It's just I'm trying to get everything set up. I'm trying to get my camera and everything. I don't want y'all looking at my room, god damn it. So I got my green screen and everything. I just need to set it up. But don't worry, guys. I will be doing more live facial cams and everything like that. But yeah, no. As far as the dieting and everything goes, man, it's actually been going fairly well. It's been going fairly well.
That's pretty good to hear. I saw you live on camera, and you looking pretty good. So from the looks of it, you got a pretty good. I think you got a pretty good build about yourself. After learning what you've accomplished, that is pretty amazing. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that should be on TV. Hearing the strides that you made, and good job. Keep it up. There's gonna be some peaks and valleys with this kind of stuff. Believe me, I know. I've been up and down, putting on weight, losing weight, and stuff like that. So I know what it's like when you hit those plateaus. You got to keep fighting, and I know you're gonna do this.
Facts, facts.
Real quick, I want to give out a couple of shouts to Carlos Fernandez. What's going on, brother? Fada Mephisto, what's going on? Eric, what's going on? Uh, there's a couple other Tuda. I'll call you that because I don't know how to pronounce your first name. I don't want to butcher it.
Oh, that's Wanye right there. What
Okay,
up,
okay.
Wanye?
Oh yeah, welcome to the channel. So Let me see. You host a lot of podcasts. Um, you know, I mean, you host so many podcasts. I wonder how you still functioning. Sometimes you do 2 or 3 podcasts a day on any given day. I'm wondering how you still function sometimes. How does it feel, being on the other end, being the guest for once?
Well, you know what? I actually enjoy being a guest, man. I know that sounds crazy or whatever, but I don't really like hosting all the time. As a matter of fact, once I finish this, I'm actually gonna do another live stream. But I'm gonna have some guests on because I've been meaning to get Fatal on for a while, but I've been going on rants and shit like that, and those have been mostly like solo efforts aside from the PlayStation Plus podcast. um, but I'm gonna tell you, one of the main reasons why I do podcasts is because I used to just do pre-recorded videos, right? I
Hmm.
used to do nothing but pre-recorded videos. And then I said, damn, you know what? I'd rather get my thoughts out immediately. So I said, you know what? Let me try the whole streaming thing. Shout out to Jack Move Johnny. Shout out to J Dub City. Before I ever did any live streams, they were the ones who, kind of gave me the information on what I needed to do in order to go live because I had never gone live with Google Hangouts. But I've tried a lot, bro. I've tried a lot. In my 4 years, I think I've been on YouTube for about 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I've tried several different things that just did not happen to catch. I did some shit like regarding just like live news and shit like that. Like when you remember that phase that we went through when everybody was doing all these weird ass challenges, like setting themselves on fire and
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and the thing where they hold your chest and then they pass out and shit like that. So I was doing videos like that, and then I was switching back to gaming. I did videos regarding like technical issues with games and stuff like that. And it's like people loved the technical stuff, but they hated just gaming in general. If I would make like a walkthrough video, that video would get like 40 views. If I would make like something talking about a game, like the problems, the issues with the game, people would come out in droves. I remember I made a video about Watch Dogs and how every time you like finish a mission, the shit would start glitching out and shit like that.
Hmm.
Um, and that video got like over 5,000 views. I'm talking
Oh.
about the engagement was crazy. I got crazy amounts of subscribers, but then I would go back and make a actual video game video where I'm doing like a walkthrough of different games and shit. And I'm like, so where did those people go, fam? Like, what happened? I made a video about the idiot who set himself on fire and
Hmm.
then jumped in the freaking tub. That video got like 5,000 views, probably
Wow.
over 5,000 views, to be honest with you.
Wow.
And then I made more gaming videos, and I'm like, wait, hold on, something is wrong. I make videos about actual games and nobody watches. But then I'll make some random, like controversial video and everybody watches. I remember I made a video about Crackdown 1 versus Crackdown 3. I think that video got like, I don't know, anywhere between 3 to 6,000 views. But then if I would have played Crackdown, there would have been nobody there to watch the video. So I'm for the longest, I've been like, what the hell is it that these people want to see? You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
what I learned is that people love controversy, man. People love controversy. People love to hear the fuck shit. Let's just be honest about that. People love to hear the fuck shit. And that's why I say, you know what? Why put all this time and effort into making these pre-recorded videos when I can just go live and get the same message out and the views come with those videos. So I've been trying for the last year to find the niche, to find what actually works for my channel. And come to find out, it's just me talking random shit about what's going on in gaming.
Hmm.
Not even playing games, not playing games, but just random shit about games. Now, I do have several other channels that I'm working on. Like I'm working on a strictly news-based channel. That's something that I haven't even talked about with my own subscribers, but it's something that's going on strictly with news, not even like gaming news or nothing like that, but just like world news. You know what I mean? I just want to give my take and my perspective on different like crimes and shit that I see happen, like strange ass murders that's been happening. Just weird things that's been going on, period. So I've been working on that channel in the background, and I know it's kind of weird because people like, we see you on the Sick Humor TV channel all the time. When do you have time to work on this other shit? Oh, I have plenty of time, especially when I'm at work, and that's when I seem to catch everybody's videos. Also, I'm working on a predominantly Xbox channel. It's a parody channel, but it's a predominantly Xbox channel, and it's called Xbox Extreme X, and that I've been working on for a minute. So I'm actually gonna put these I'm gonna make these YouTube channels work for me, you feel me? So I got a couple of those channels that's gonna pop up out of everywhere, out of nowhere, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and we'll definitely keep our eyes open for them. Again, you know,
Oh, I ain't gonna even lie to you, Clay. I don't even want to mix these channels, dog. I do not even. That's why I never really talked about them. So I'm not going to even attempt to bring my subscribers to this particular channel, to these particular channels. I want these channels to grow pretty much on their own. You know what I'm saying? Now, if anybody happens to run into these channels, now that's something totally different. But for the most part, I want to keep them separate. I want them to be, because it's going to be in totally different communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going for like the crumb side shit. I'm not going for that. I want to actually build these channels up into something totally different. But outside of that, man, let me back up a little bit because I'm talking way too much. I ain't even give you time to ask your questions, bro.
Oh, it's all cool. I'm watching the comment section, and I want to give out a couple of shots anyway. Give out a shout to Royal Flush Gaming. What's up, my brother? Give a shout out to Titanfall Princess. Thanks for joining. I think Ian Robinson, thanks for popping in here. What's up, everybody?
What up? What up? What up, everybody? I do appreciate you guys coming through. I do appreciate you guys coming through.
No doubt. Before I move on to the next question, these are the channels that you're working on. I hope you will make some exceptions to the rules and steer me in the direction of in particular the Xbox parody channel. That is something I'm interested in seeing. I think that's going to end up being pretty funny. So please make an exception for me and steer me into the direction of that channel once you get it going.
Oh no, that one I'll send you the link to that one.
Okay.
But I got other channels that nobody knows about. Like I got music channels. I got music channels. I want to do the news channel. I got other channels like skit channels. Again, these are channels I never even mentioned because I have no want or need to have these the crumb siders. Not you guys, but like these other channels, I have no need for them to come to that particular side and even be a part of, because I just don't want to bring that shit over there, dude.
Definitely, I understand. While we're on the subject of podcasts, I pretty much watch all your podcasts, and lately, you've seemed pretty disgruntled with a particular brand. I am speaking of the Xbox brand. So what brought you to the breaking point with Xbox?
I'm gonna tell you one thing, man. I'm not even really disgruntled with the Xbox. I'm disgruntled more with the Xbox fans. That's what I have a problem with. You know what I'm saying? I have a problem with people not expecting more, with people not expecting better. You know what I'm saying? OBJ the Don had a quote when he was on King Thrash's Roundtable podcast. He said, and I quote, "I bought these 3 consoles and I want these 3 consoles to do everything for me. I want to be spoiled by these consoles. There is no such thing as these consoles are just for this or just for that." And that to me was the realest shit I ever heard, because people keep giving these consoles a pass. Oh, I come to PlayStation for single player games. I don't care about multiplayer games. Oh, I got an Xbox for multiplayer and multi-plat games. You know, I don't care. No, No. I want everything from every one of these console makers. It doesn't matter what the company is. I want to be spoiled. I spent $500 to be spoiled by these companies. I'm also not with this new rhetoric where you knew what you were getting into. I do not believe in that shit. I do not believe in that, because if we want to go as far back as 2014, 2015, Phil Spencer said he was focused on first party games. You know what's funny about that statement? We haven't seen any first party games. The only thing we've seen is the usuals: Halo,
Yeah.
Gears, and Forza.
I totally agree. And not only that, when the going back to what you just said about people using that lame excuse about you knew what you were getting, when they unveiled the Xbox One X at E3 last year, they didn't say this is a third party console. This is going to be, we're going to be focusing on backwards compatibility. They didn't say, oh, don't look for any AAA exclusives because you're not going to get them this generation. So that wouldn't fly with me anyway, because Phil Spencer forgot to, tell everybody that shit. That no, you're not going to get any AAA exclusives. We're going to be throwing a lot of backwards compatibility games at you. So yeah, that wouldn't fly with me.
No, and my thing is, they're trying to use the backwards compatibility to pad the fact that they have no games. Here's another piece of rhetoric that I just cannot stand, and I've been hearing this shit pop up lately. Oh, just wait, just give them time. This has been 17 years in the making. Microsoft is not a new console maker. This is not the Ouya. This is not the Atari box. This is not a new venture. This is not something that they just jumped into and now they should now let's focus on making games. No, they've been doing this since the OG Xbox. This has been going on since the early 2000s, since 2001, 2002. They have been in the console market since that time. So why are we saying let's give them more time? Let's give them time. Let's give them no, you don't get no fucking time. What fucking time are we giving you? I mean, look at PlayStation. PlayStation has put out the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 Slim, the PlayStation 4 Pro, the PlayStation VR. And by the way, they put out a great catalog of games exclusively for the PlayStation VR, and they continue to support it. So should we have just given it more time? Because the same people who saying give Xbox more time is saying write VR off right now. Fuck VR. You know what I'm saying? So, it's fuck VR, but it's give Xbox more time. Man, y'all don't go sit in the corner somewhere, bruh. Like, that's that shit I can't stand. And that's the reason why I say it's not technically the brand that I have a problem with. It's the fans that I have a problem with. It's these damage controlling motherfuckers that won't sit up here and say how they really feel. Like, you can tell they really feel one way, but instead of talking about how they feel, they want to sugarcoat shit. They want to damage control shit. They want to tell you all of this funny bullshit, right? Everybody want to be a fucking comedian and tell you how, Xbox has just been doing just fine. I love going back playing old ass games. Yeah, really? You the same motherfucker that didn't buy a PS3. Nigga, you didn't keep that same energy because PS3 had backwards compatibility. PS2 had backwards compatibility. Y'all niggas didn't give a fuck about it at that point, right? Why? Because it wasn't on Xbox. It wasn't on Xbox. So don't sit up here and play like backwards compatibility is such a big deal now, because if I go to your motherfucking trophy list, you know what I'm not gonna see? I'm not gonna see that you actually put time into these backwards compatibility games. That's what I'm not gonna see. I'm gonna see that you turned the goddamn game on for a few seconds, looked at it, and then say, you know what? I'm good. This is all I needed. You just repaid $20 to $30 for a game that you're not going to even fucking play. But y'all want to sit up here and talk shit about PlayStation Now? Everybody wants to tell me that PlayStation Now is dog shit. See, the funny thing about when people say PlayStation Now is dog shit is nobody ever provides proof. Where is the proof that PlayStation Now is dog shit? What I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this particularly for my subscribers, I am going to get a month of PlayStation Now. I am going to connect my Elgato. I am going to load up a game, and I am going to play said game, and I'm going to stream it. I'm going to stream it. So keep in mind, not only am I using bandwidth to stream the content to you guys, but I'm also going to be using bandwidth to actually stream the game. Because again, this narrative that has been pushed is that PlayStation Now is so fucking terrible. But at the same time, I know people who subscribe to PlayStation Now and they haven't even bought any games this generation for PlayStation 4 because they say they good with PlayStation Now. But you don't get those people highlighted because they are not a part of this community, bruh.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely no question about that. It is definitely going to take up a lot of broadband because that is going to be a lot of information going back and forth. So I'm definitely curious to see how that's going to turn out. Now you talked about investing in the Xbox ecosystem and you haven't seen the returns on your investment. You know, that prompted you to sell all your Xboxes except the one that was given to you by your wife, which you mentioned about selling that a couple of times. Is that one still on the selling table?
The Xbox One X, it is about to take that road trip. Now, a lot of people said, yo, wait to E3. Let's see what they have to offer at E3. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? I will give them until this E3. And I promise you guys, if they do not show nothing at E3 this year, y'all will see me take that motherfucking Xbox on a road trip. I am going to pull out my bullshit ass cell phone. I am going to go to my local GameStop. I am going to ask permission to my homie John that works at GameStop and ask him, can I record him as I return this Xbox One X, or not return it, but get whatever they're going to give me for the Xbox One X. And if he says that I can, I will be recording my transaction as I hand that motherfucker over. Right now, I'm promising you guys that this is what the fuck is going to happen, because at this point, I'm done. I mean, I've invested enough. And then I've heard from several different people, not even K Mega, that the fact that I bought this Xbox One X is a me problem. You should have done your research. This is what I've been hearing. I've heard that I should have did my research on the Xbox One X before I bought it, and I would have known that only that the way they advertise this as the best multiplayer, the best multi-plat box. I'm sorry, but I do remember them vividly telling us about how they were going to have a whole bunch of first-party IPs. I literally bought the Xbox so that I can play all of their exclusives at the best fidelity that I could possibly play them at, because we saw how ReCore turned out, right? ReCore on the regular Xbox ran like complete dog shit. Complete and utter dog shit. But it's a me problem for wanting to play that game in its best fidelity.
Yeah,
does that sound crazy to you or what?
That's insane. But Microsoft failed to deliver on a number of promises with the Xbox One X, and one of them being VR, because that was my interest in buying the Xbox One X, was the high fidelity VR that they promised, and they never followed through with it. So my reasons for being remotely interested into this console went out the window. So, you've been on a rampage lately, calling out YouTubers that contradicted themselves. You played the podcast earlier, and I found it to be comical that these guys, were contradicting each other. But getting back to the rampage that you've been on, what brought you to this point that, with some of these damage controllers, what brought you to this point of, going on a rampage with them?
To be honest, man, I'm not subscribed to any Xbox channels, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm subscribed to like Griffin Gaming, which I got nothing but respect for Griffin Gaming, Rand Thor, when it comes to Xbox guys. And honestly, I think I will subscribe to Zaire, because I was impressed that Zaire is no longer on the fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
one of the main reasons why I didn't subscribe to Zaire's channel is simply because I don't want to hear you damage control Microsoft shit. I really don't. Praise them if they deserve praise, right? Tell us that backwards compatibility is a good feature. Tell us that changing your name is a good feature. Tell us that being able to do refunds is a good feature. Game preview, if that's what you like, good feature, right? But don't sit up here and tell me that you're okay with what you've been given, you know, on the software front for gaming. But like I said, I was very impressed that Zaire wasn't with the fuck shit today. I mean, don't get me wrong, all of those guys on that panel was a byproduct of Zaire. You know what I'm saying? He created those guys.
Right.
Believe it or not, he created those guys. The same guys that he's now looking at sideways, like, what the fuck are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
created those guys. They feel like they need to damage control because that's how they were able to get on BGST. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just what it is. That's what it is, bro. But like I said, I salute Zaire because if anytime a person is able to rectify their issues and get on that real shit, and I don't mean on some shit where you just bashing Xbox, because if anybody knows Griffin Gaming, I think Griffin Gaming has a great YouTube channel and he is very pro Xbox. That's what I want to clarify here too. I'm not looking for people to damage control, or I'm not looking for people to bash the Xbox. If you speak just factually on the Xbox, I will definitely hold you in high regards, no matter what it is. This guy, Griffin Gaming, he is very pro Xbox. He buys all his multiplats on Xbox. He talks very highly of Xbox, but he is not unwilling to be truthful when it comes to the Xbox. So that's the reason why I fuck with Griffin Gaming. You know what I'm saying? And if you
Yeah.
go to his channel, you'll find out quick. It's not all bashing Xbox. He'll tell you how the X is better than the Pro. He'll tell you about all of it, the way he feels. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And like I said, I've never had a problem with somebody who feels like the X is better than the Pro and shit like that, because on paper, it should be correct.
Oh,
On
no
paper, it
doubt.
should be. But at the same time, this person does not leave out the fact that, goddamn, PlayStation is putting out bangers. PlayStation is killing it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he does revert back to, but I love my Xbox and I have no problem with that. Just be honest. That's it.
Mm-hmm. This Griffin Gaming, I just recently subscribed to him. Now, the video that I saw, I must have caught him on one of those days where, you know, he must have had some PlayStation coffee in the morning or something like that, because, I mean, he was definitely going in on the Xbox. But then, you know, he put out a video and said the Xbox is his preferred platform.
Facts.
Speaking of Zaire, you know, in terms of watching gaming videos, I've only been doing this for about a year now, and I had subscribed to Zaire a while back, and I was about to unsubscribe to him once I started seeing him as the black version of Crap Gamer. So I was about to unsubscribe to him, but then after he started waking up and seeing the light, I was like, okay, let me keep my eye on this situation for a minute. I'm still watching, but I'm still wondering how much of this is some WWE shit. You know, I'm just wondering how much of it is real. The only, you know, the one thing I do believe for certain is that he's getting attacked in his comment section. I definitely believe that is not an act. And so, speaking of that, you know, what do you think about the Xbox still crying about God of War and Spider-Man? Here it is, you know, over a week later, and he's still crying. What do you think about that?
Um I guess, you know, you made the wrong decision. You know what I'm saying? If you're crying about Spider-Man, or if you're crying about God of War, it's because you made the wrong decision as far as your purchase goes. Because let's say you didn't actually care about God of War or Spider-Man, as some of these guys say. If you truly didn't care about it, you never would talk about it. I would never sit up here and tell you I don't care about the Xbox brand, because I've invested a lot of money into the Xbox brand since its inception into gaming. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I will most certainly, and I don't give a fuck who think I'm bitching about Xbox. I will definitely voice my complaints. I think I think the amount of money that I've invested into this company warrants me to be able to tell them how I feel about what they're doing right now in gaming, and nobody can ever tell me anything different. And
Mm-hmm.
that's facts. I will bitch until I don't want to fucking bitch no more. And when I don't want to bitch no more, that means that I'm just totally not giving a fuck about the state of Xbox or where it's headed.
Yeah, I actually find this incredible that they still crying, because I am of the belief that every hardcore gamer that considers themselves a hardcore gamer owns some sort of a PlayStation, owns some sort of an Xbox One. PSVR is on the rise, so more and more hardcore gamers are getting the PlayStation VR, and a good number of them have a Switch. With that being said, I find that to be incredible that they're crying about these games and they have the console to play them on. So I find that to be amazing. So and now speaking of these Xbox, given what your content has been about lately, voicing your opinion about the fanboys, have you been attacked in your comment section or on Twitter?
Absolutely not. I have the greatest comment section in the world, bro. Like we bullshit all the time, you know what I'm saying? I have people who I know who come in just to troll, you know what I'm saying? And I fucks with them, like the random guy, Mr. Pio. You know, sometimes those guys, Zelda, they'll just come in just to troll, and I don't even, like I don't have no problem with that. I mean, anybody who has came in and just been super toxic or super fucking negative for absolutely no reason, they've gotten blocked. So shout out to all of my mods, shout out to DI Almighty Spartan God, shout out to Ryan Landis. I believe Savage Uger is also one of my mods as well, but I have to double check. Shout out to the wifey, she be in the in a comment section blocking motherfuckers. Like it's just like it's man, OBJ the Don, Fatal Mephisto haven't blocked anybody. Fatal will just talk to him all day, but that's all good. That's all good. I fucks with Fatal, but but Fatal haven't blocked anybody thus far.
Yeah, I love Fatal. I love Fatal. I nicknamed him the Canadian Grizzly Bear, so that's my dude. I had an absolutely wonderful podcast with him last week. Shout out to Fatal.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. Fatal, that's definitely my Canadian brother from another mother, him and his milk bag. You know. No, like my mods, they keep that shit clean, bro. Like I don't have to worry about toxicity in the chat, whether I'm watching it or not, which is why I have as many mods as I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and those mods that are there, the reason why they are mods is because they are there every video. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't miss a video. And if you're one of those people who don't miss a video, you definitely have the potential of becoming a moderator. You know what I'm saying? And the way I feel about it, man, is that, the only time your chat gets toxic like that is when you've said some crazy shit, and now you're backtracking because now you have a whole bunch of people who were pro Xbox. You know what I'm saying? In your chat, now you have a whole bunch of people who are pro PlayStation in your chat. You have a mixture of pro Xbox and pro PlayStation, meaning they will only go to one of those consoles. Either they're strictly PlayStation or either they're strictly Xbox. And usually that's when all of the back and forth start happening. For the most part, the people who come to my chat are multi-console gamers. You know what I'm saying? So they have nothing to argue about because they own everything. I think people go to these people as a safe haven. I don't create that safe haven space. You know what I'm saying? Because the second PlayStation start fucking up, I'm gonna be talking about PlayStation. The second Nintendo start fucking up, I'm gonna be talking about Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? Right now, it just happens to be Xbox. So those are the people, who don't show up. You know what I'm saying? Right. They don't show up because they don't want to hear anything negative about their preferred console. They want people to praise it. They want people to blindly praise that console. And I just can't do it, man. It's the most powerful console in the world, but I can't tell.
Right.
I can't tell.
I want to answer a question from the chat real quick from Ryan Landis. It says right here, imagine if the Xbox would have supported Sunset Overdrive. Insomniac might have been working on Sunset 2 instead of Spider-Man. That must sting. truth be told, I think it played out the way it was supposed to, Ryan. Because I think, you know, Xbox could have gotten Spider-Man, and I'm not so sure they would have supported it. It seems to me like they just want to run their mouth about little shit that they got, but, you know, not really supporting it. So it played out the way it was supposed to. Sunset Overdrive, to me, I'm guessing the game flopped not because of whether or not it was garbage or not, because it wasn't supported. So moving on to the next question. Let me see here. So what do you think about the Xbox calling out Phil for congratulating Sony on the God of War Metacritic score?
That's part of the state of Xbox right now. You know, again, they see Phil congratulating PlayStation as a sign of weakness. Not gonna lie, I think I gotta agree with them. Like, fuck you congratulating the competition for. Do better, nigga. Like, don't congratulate me. Try to one up me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't congratulate me. One up me. I ain't got time for that. All that kumbaya shit that Phil is doing over there. Phil should be trying to kill Sony. You know what I'm saying? Because Sony definitely trying to kill Phil. You know what I mean? Shuei Yoshida, the top dogs at Sony right now, they putting they foot on the Xbox neck, the Xbox brand neck. And these niggas want to tell them how great they're doing at doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you for putting your foot even further on my neck. Yeah, I can't breathe, but thank you. This is great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the logic in that is. I mean, once again, it's all about these motherfuckers wanting to play together instead of being competition. So when people ask me, why are you always talking about Xbox? We need Xbox as competition. First and foremost, Xbox hasn't been competition for PlayStation since when? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been a while.
When have they been competition? The only reason why the Xbox 360 was any form of competition is because it came out a year early. It came out in 2005. The PlayStation 3 launched in 2006. So they had time to gain steam while Sony was still, you know, hitting up the charts with the PS2. You feel me?
Yep.
So all of this nonsense that they're saying, all of this shit that I hear people saying, talking about Xbox needs to be here for competition. No, they don't. They don't. We need somebody who is actually passionate about gaming, not passionate about making money in gaming, but passionate about gaming. We need them in this gaming space. You don't see Nintendo trying to kumbaya with Sony. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Nintendo, like, I'm trying to kill both you niggas. So fight it out while I'm sitting here on the sideline. I'm gonna put the dagger in the back of both of you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what Nintendo, that's how Nintendo is handling this shit. But good ass Microsoft, you know what I'm saying? Hey guys, let's go and congratulate Sony on how great they're doing with their games. Hopefully we can get some of these games on our platform. No, no, you can't. You can't.
You know what I was gonna say is that when you in the case of Phil Spencer, when you trying to push that narrative of crossplay and you're trying to get Game Pass onto their platform, you know, when you're trying to piggyback off of somebody else's success, you're probably gonna have to be nice to them and eat a little booty, you know, to try to get them to, you know, maybe open up and let you on in, you know what I mean? So that's what I took from it, is that, you know, that's still him being nice and complimenting Sony, so he can, because I'm sure he still has visions of getting Game Pass over on the PlayStation platform. So that's what I look at it as, which I think would be a deadly mistake if Sony were to do that. So, you know, and while we're on the subject of Phil Spencer, do you think the Xbox finally jumping his ass? Do you think that was long overdue?
Absolutely. That was way overdue. That's what I've been advocating for. That's what I've been trying to rally up the squad for. Let these motherfuckers know we are not happy, bruh. Putting on this facade and just hoping that something changes has gotten us nowhere, right? Hoping that the Xbox One S was going to change things. What was that? That was a failure. Hoping that the One X would change things. Guess what? That was a failure. Hoping that they were going to bring exclusives to the platform, first party exclusives. Guess what? That was a failure. Everything that we hoped did absolutely nothing because we went out and continued to buy these fucking consoles, telling them that they were doing an absolutely great job. You know what I'm saying? So we sent the wrong message. Me in particular, I most certainly sent the wrong message. You know what I'm saying? I spent over $2,000 in Xbox hardware, and that's my fault. You know what I'm saying? That's my fault. But what that has created, or what that has let me know, is that moving forward, that going forward, I'm not being so trustworthy in the Xbox brand. Sony told me that greatness awaits, right? And guess what we getting? Greatness. Xbox has preached everything under the sun, told me that they gave us the greatest lineup in Xbox history when all we got was Halo, Gears, and Forza. You know, maybe got a Tomb Raider here or Ori here, bum ass dead frame rate. You know what I'm saying? Mediocre ass Rise Son of Rome. You know what I'm saying? Like these were the greatest games in Xbox history, according to them. And I'm sorry, if we go back to the previous consoles, I think I beg to differ on that.
Right.
I think I beg to differ on that. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt. I'll repeat something that I said yesterday in the PlayStation Plus podcast, that when I stop and look at this generation, I don't think Microsoft ever had any intentions of putting out too many AAA titles. Because when you stop and think about it, I said it before, that when this generation first started, their goal was to go after the casual gamer, and they tried to do it by making the Xbox One an all-in-one media device. So they tried to get everybody to come on board with the Xbox and let the Xbox be the hub of whatever, entertainment you got set up at home. That backfired. They did not reach the casual gamers, but I do believe that Microsoft has not given up on that vision of trying to get everybody on the planet. They're trying it again with GameStop, with Game Pass. And I said it yesterday that they're trying to get to everybody on the planet, and they would sell GameStops to fucking aliens if they could. That's how much they want to sell that shit. And I've said it before, for people that's got, those heartbeat monitors, inserted into the chest or something like that. Microsoft would try to put Game Pass on that shit if they could. That's how much they're trying to get to everybody. So I think, the situation was, the first go round, they tried to bring everybody to the Xbox. That didn't work. So now with Games Pass, they're trying to take the Xbox out to everybody. And I think that's what's going on with this company. I don't think it was ever that much of an intention of them to put out that many AAA games. And they know, they are well aware of this console war. They know with the Xbox, all they have to do is just keep feeding them promises that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're still beating Sony is still a priority, and they hanging on and hanging on and hanging on. So it's amazing that it took this damn long. Well, actually, it's been, I don't know how many years, and the hardcore toxic ones are still hanging on. So,
well, look at it this way. Most Xbox gamers, most gamers who have Xboxes have been forced to buy PlayStations. They have been forced to become multi-console owners, not because they really wanted to, but because they see what the competition has to offer versus what their own platform of choice has to offer. Once again, this is how we got to the point where they put so much significance in multiplats, because that's the only thing that they can hang on to. Hanging on to the fact that they might have a little bit better resolution on the Xbox One X. That's what gives them hope. Come on, how many people you hear now talking about, oh, I got an Xbox One X because I love the greatest multiplats, but you've owned an Xbox One this entire generation, fam. So you ain't been keeping that same energy. This is just your excuse now. This is you changing the narrative now. You know what I'm saying? Because it suits your argument. Like, come on, dog. Y'all need to, bruh. That's why I get so fucking frustrated, because people try to make it seem like this is what they've always been about. We've always been about the greatest multiplayer. But before, if you would have asked them, about the greatest multiplats, they would have been like, oh, no, well, I got the Xbox because that's where my friends are. That's the shit that I've been listening to. That's the nonsense that I've been hearing. Like, I've been hearing that, and now all of a sudden you want to change the narrative to, oh, you know, I got this Xbox One X because of the tech. Like, come on, dog. So why you bought the original Xbox One? It was known way before either one of those consoles released which one was the better buy. So what made you buy the Xbox One? Oh, well, I did that because of my friends. Really, nigga? Really? You shouldn't even be saying shit about multiplats, because your narrative is going to change. The second the PS5 drop, the narrative is going to change again. Oh, well, you know, I'm not getting a PS5 because Xbox One is giving me everything I want. You know, yeah, like, bruh, come on, dog. Come on, dog. Like, we already see that shit coming. That's why they are so upset that rumors about the PS5 is circulating. For that same reason, because they think that they're gonna lose that narrative argument of the better multiplats.
Well, your blood may continue to boil with this next question. So what, you know, it's been a week now. What did you think of the last week's episode of Inside Xbox?
Oh man, we really gonna do this, Lincoln? Okay.
That response speaks for itself. You can choose to answer it, or I can move on to the next question.
No. All right. So, Inside Xbox.
Carlos said, do it.
Carlos was there with me, man. We live streamed the entire Inside Xbox, bro. And it was amazing, the response that they got from backwards compatible games. Old ass motherfucking games. Oh my god, Knights of the Old Republic, that's coming back. I'm gonna be able to play this. Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to rebuy this game, because God knows I do not own this game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Niggas was hyped for having Red Dead Redemption in 4K, bruh. They were hyped to have Red Dead Redemption in 4K. They were hyped to hear more about Sea of Thieves. They were hyped to hear about the Splinter Cell voice guy, whatever his name was, talking about, I don't even know what the fuck he was talking about, to be honest with you.
Me neither. And he looked like he didn't even want to be there on top of that.
He really didn't. He wasn't even making eye contact. He was like, y'all really got me up here with this bullshit, bro. I don't want to talk about this. But either way, you know, they talked about the Splinter Cell DLC and Ghost Recon, which to me, I don't know how to feel about that, because it just seems like they put a skin over the characters that were already in the game. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Whatever. If people like it, they like it. They talked a lot about backwards compatibility. They talked almost nothing about first party. They showed some more third party stuff, and all in all, the show was absolute fucking trash. It was garbage. If Inside Xbox was great to you, I know it was great to Fatal, because Fatal was able to see his comment pop up on the screen, and that made him very, very giddy, because he's a part of the Xbox community, and you know, he wants to be acknowledged by the Xbox gods up there. But as for me, it did nothing for me, man. Like, here's one thing that I've always said, bro. If I want to go back and play old ass games, it's nothing for me to hook up a HDMI cable and a plug to my Xbox 360 and play those games. I have no interest in playing these games on Xbox One. I have none whatsoever.
Not at all. And hey, Fatal, I understand that since you got that comment in on Inside Xbox, I understand it, because for your participation, Microsoft will be sending you a stuffed Super Lucky's Tale doll. Congratulations.
Yo, did you see that? Big ass doll. Like, I don't know who they were pushing that to. I know they weren't pushing that shit to their fans. I know they weren't pushing that to their fans.
Unbelievable. Oh boy, you ever see those chocolate coins that's wrapped in the gold foil?
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna send a bag of those to Fatal too.
Oh man.
Hey, I gotta mess with you. The Canadian grizzly bear. I gotta mess with you, Fatal. So As you know, next month, State of Decay is coming out. Are you gonna give that a shot?
I absolutely am. I'm actually pretty stoked for State of Decay, man. I told you I love zombie games, bro. So I really can't wait to play it, man. The one thing that I'm hoping though is that it's just not a pointless grind fucking game, dude. I'm hoping that you know that the progression is going to be great. I'm hoping that you can move to different areas. I'm hoping that it's just not another sandbox full of zombies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I really wouldn't want that. Like I want some type of events to happen. You know, I want some type of like story to be behind the game. Like I don't want to just have a game where I sit around and fucking farm zombies and shit like that. Like I'm just hoping that that's not what it's about.
Right. Myself, I'm not terribly interested in it. I'm getting the impression that this is probably a zombie version of Sea of Thieves, where I'm led to believe that it's going to be more of a social experience rather than your conventional zombie game where you're overwhelmed, grossly outnumbered, and basically running for your life. The trailers and the gameplay that I've seen so far, it looked like the co-op players were going on a zombie hunt looking for them rather than running from them. When you look at games like Days Gone, where he was definitely running from his life from hordes and hordes and hordes of zombies. That's what I'm led to believe a zombie game is supposed to be about, where you're grossly outnumbered and you're running, using the environment, anything you can do to, buy yourself some time. So, I'm going to try to give State of Decay the benefit of the doubt. I am not going to buy it. I am not going to fuck around with that that Game Pass. If it's at my local video store, I'll rent it and go from there. So now, if you want to add something, go ahead.
Nah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I see that, like, I think you are the only person that I know that has over 2,000 subscribers. So I'm assuming that you are within the parameters of being able to monetize your videos, but you haven't. Why is that?
I just don't really see a need at this point. To be honest with you, like I said, I do this for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really one of those people that do YouTube for fun. Like I don't really care about the money aspect. And I think when you start focusing too much on the money aspect, you lose sight of why you started doing this in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be one of those people that get to the point where I say, you know what? I'm done with YouTube. My money ain't right this month. You know, I don't want to do this no more. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I stay away from that. Like I said, like my job, I have a great job, bro. So I don't, I don't need to subsidize my income with YouTube. Don't get me wrong, you can never have too much money, and that's a fact. But at the same time, like I said, I don't want to become analytically um 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 bound to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to watch my analytics. When I look at my analytics, I'm only looking at my analytics to see if I did better than I did last month. You know what I'm saying? And thanks to all the wonderful subscribers that I've gained and the people that have been watching my podcast and my live streams and stuff like that, like my analytics have gone up through the roof as of late. And for that, I'm like very grateful to everybody who supports me and what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, what I look at it like is that I'm just giving my opinion on what I see in gaming. You know what I'm saying? And there's people who will follow me, to hear my opinion. So with that, I'm forever grateful as far as that goes. But again, like I said, I don't want to taint myself with with the money thing. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I think that just gets in the way of everything. It disrupts what you really came to YouTube for. And I've seen a lot of people leave YouTube because of it. You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
just don't want to become one of those people.
Uh, I definitely feel you. I mean, me myself, I've actually accomplished my goal with YouTube as a YouTube content creator because, like, video games and lifting weights are my passion. They are my passion. They are my escape. I could talk about video games and I could talk about, working out all day. I could talk to you till your ears fall off about it. And so through YouTube, I'm able to express myself about that. and my channel has grown enough that, you know, when I go live, conversations get started in the chat, and that's what I was aiming for, was to be able to interact with everybody. So to everybody in the chat, I'm seeing everything that's being said, I'm keeping in with the interview with Sick, and basically by the time I could get around to answering your question, we're getting ready to move on to another subject. I'll definitely try to, slip in answers wherever I can. So, let's see here. The next question, Shenmue 1 and 2 are retailing for $30. Are you going to pick them up?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. While I don't think very highly of these remasters that they're doing with Shenmue, because it looks like they put absolutely no effort in it. It looked like all they did was raise the resolution and that's it. No texture work, none of that. I'm just not okay with that. I mean, I'm not okay with the fact that they didn't do much for it, but the game itself is a great game. And hopefully this is just not nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I don't play the game and then, think to myself, what the fuck am I thinking? You know what I mean? I'm hoping that that does not happen. I don't believe that that will happen. I think also they should have contracted the people who work on Yakuza to actually redo these games.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
yeah, because the Yakuza team does a great job at what they do with the Yakuza series. Even though a lot of those games were old games, when they brought them back, they look very, very amazing.
No doubt. Yakuza 6 is definitely one of the games that I want to get. But because of how many exclusives that Sony has coming out this year, I have to pace myself as far as spending money goes. There's also several PSVR games that I'm interested in, and I just dropped $200 for a racing wheel last week. So, and then not to mention, my birthday is coming up next month, so now I got to renew my license plates. And then my son's birthday is 10 days after my birthday. So the remainder of April and all of May is going to be a very expensive month. I might have to, become a stripper, slide up and down the pole, try to make a few bucks or something like that. I'll just play, y'all. Don't take me serious on that. But reports are going around that Mark Cerny is talking to developers about the PS5. What do you make of that?
Well, I think he wants to know what the developers want. You know what I mean? Here's the problem, right? I feel like they did the same thing with the PS4, right? But it's almost immediately it becomes clear that what these developers are requesting is not what they really want. You know what I'm saying? Because if that was the case, then we would have no need for these mid-gen refreshes. You know what I mean? We would have no need for any of this shit that's going on this generation. I think him talking to the developers, I think they're trying to see what they're going to do in the future. And I have trust in Mark Cerny because I feel like Mark Cerny actually knows what the fuck he's talking about. He might be one weird looking motherfucker and he might have a weird ass aura around him, but you cannot deny his genius. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do that. I think for him to be talking to the developers, I think that he wants to cater to their needs, as best as they possibly can. And they want to get on board as many development teams as they possibly can, because again, they want to keep that same energy that they've had this generation. You know what I mean? They want to go for the neck. They want to go for the jugular. You know what I mean? So what are we going for this time around? Maybe he's asking them, hey, do you want us to go for power, graphical power, or do you want us to go for processing power? You know what I mean? Because they know where their missteps are at this point. They know where they fucked up at this point. So I don't believe that they're going to make those same mistakes going into the next gen. Now, we're getting to a point where can you go graphically? Because from what I've seen with God of War, it made me think to myself, how much better can gaming really get? You know what I mean? Like you can change the effects, You can change the different texture items and things like that. But what more can you do with gaming? I mean, I feel like we're getting to that point where I don't think it's going to be as big of a leap as everybody think it's going to be, going from the PS4 Pro to the PS5. You know what I mean? It might be an increase in tech, so it might be an increase in memory, increase in memory bandwidth, increase in hard drive space and stuff like that. But as far as what we're gonna see as the end users, what where can they really go from where they are now? I mean, I feel like we're hitting that ceiling, man.
I agree. I probably say, whatever happens with the PS5 in terms of graphics and processing power, it is what it is. I have confidence in Sony. My big thing that I'm really looking out for is the PSVR with the technology being baked into it, and with the rumored specs on the PS5. I like to think that what that means for the PSVR means is going to mean less wires, higher resolution. And I think with all that power, I'd like to think that the next generation will see more and more AAA titles on the PSVR, because ultimately that is what I'm looking to happen with PSVR. I think we're gonna, it's gonna take a while, but I think we're gonna get there. But I'm happy with the games we got in the meantime. So they could drop the PS5 tomorrow and I would buy it. It wouldn't make a difference to me. I would buy it day one. So speaking of the PS5, would you purchase that or the Xbox 2 when it comes out?
PlayStation already has my money, bro. That shit is sitting in the escrow account just waiting to be withdrawn. You know what I'm saying? So PlayStation already has my money. Xbox, they have to earn my money, bro. They don't have any more good faith for me. I have no good faith with Xbox any longer. Like, I am not buying their console day one. I might not even buy year one. Matter of fact, I might not even buy year two, to be honest with you. I got to see the roadmap now. You know what I'm saying? I got to see what they're going to do. What I know with Sony is when I purchase their product, they're going to give me what I want. With Xbox, that shit is up in the air because they're trying to do so much shit that has nothing to do with actually creating games. You know what I'm saying? They want to create all the services in the world. They want to give you old ass games, but as far as creating new and innovative experiences, they don't have the passion for that shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they're showing it with these lazy ass fucking Xbox 360 enhancements. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would rather enhance old ass game than create new experiences, and I can't get behind that.
Right. Give me a second to respond to a comment in the chat section by Ryan Landis. He says built-in VR support would be a mistake, just like Force Connect support. Now, here's the thing, Ryan. With the Xbox One, when this generation first launched, the Kinect was a peripheral that Microsoft tried to force you to take. But when everybody took a stand, then they all of a sudden flipped the switch, and now you don't need to Kinect anymore. I think with the VR technology baked into the console, I believe that Sony is not going to try to make you take a VR headset. They're not going to try to force you to take a VR headset along with the console like Microsoft tried to do. The technology is there in case you want to buy the VR. So it's going to be an option. I don't think putting the VR support baked into the console, I don't think that's going to be a mistake. I think I welcome it, because it would be a different story if they forced you to take the headset, if they charged you $1,100 for the console and the VR headset. That would be a huge mistake. But that, that VR being baked in is, to me, it's just an option. I don't see a problem with that.
No. Uncompetitive. That would be the point of actually building the tech inside of the system. There will no longer be a need for a breakout box. It'll just be a cord that goes from the headset into the system. Ryan Landis, I have to wholeheartedly disagree with that statement. VR and Kinect is two totally different things. Two totally different things. Not even on the same level, not even on the same playing field. But like Lincoln said, I would not like to see them, and I agree with you. Hopefully they're not forcing PlayStation VR down people's throats. You know what I'm saying? So that I have to agree. I mean, give us the option, but don't force it on us. You know what I mean? Like me personally, I'll have the VR regardless, but I don't think Sony would make that mistake of saying, "Hey, when you buy this PlayStation, you gotta buy this VR headset." Nah, I don't think that's what it's for. I think it's sort of like the way they let that HDR feature sit dormant within the PlayStation, and they've always known about it. Even with the regular PlayStation, they've known that they could activate HDR on it. I think it's pretty much like that. It's a feature that's there, and when they're ready to, enable that motherfucker, it's gonna be enabled.
Yeah, not only that, when you when you talk about that, even if the VR and the Kinect were the exact same thing, it's just like, like we said before, Microsoft tried to force you to take theirs. I don't think Sony's going to make you take it. It's not going to be a situation where, I mean, just how many consoles do you think they would sell if they, charge you $400-500 for the console and then another $500 for the headset? We talking 1,000-1,100 bucks. They are not going to sell any consoles. Sony is not going to force anyone to take that headset. That part would be a huge mistake. And as far as the technology being baked into the console, I would have to assume that there's some sort of VR technology baked into the Xbox One X, being a high fidelity VR was supposed to be one of the features of this console. So, but nobody's talking about that. It just Microsoft didn't do it, and they sidestepped questions about it. Let me tell you, Sony is really, doubling down on VR along with all their other games. To me, it's just another option. I don't, and if they're going to be able to bake the VR support into the console and still put a rumored 10 to 12 teraflops into the system, they must be able to do some, pretty amazing stuff with this console. So let's see here. I know you're excited about God of War. Which edition of the game did you purchase?
The Stone Mason edition. I got the Super Collector's edition from Best Buy. And man, I cannot wait to play that game. See, the Collector's edition was something that I felt like I had to get, because I am a huge fan of God of War. I have always been a fan of God of War, but I'm even more of a fan of this God of War because of the changes that was made. I'm all on board, and I'm all with the changes that have been made to God of War. I mean, I love their new focus. I love the fact that Atreus is there, where a lot of people don't like that, because again, I have kids, you know what I'm saying? So I can relate to the fact that Atreus is there. I can relate to the mission that they're about to go on, and I can't wait to see what they're going to actually do with the story, which is why I've been staying away from all these reviews. I've been staying away from anybody talking about God of War. I've literally blocked people on Twitter because they've threatened to spoil God of War. So I've just been, I've been actively trying to black myself out from anything being talked about with God of War, because I want to go into it fresh. I don't want to know anything about it. I think even knowing that it had a 60 frames per second mode was a little bit too much, because I would have been pleasantly surprised to see that that was a mode that was available. You know what I'm saying? And even now, I'm still surprised, but I feel like I have enough trust in Sony as a corporation and Sony Santa Monica as a development team that I know that they're going to produce greatness. So I purchased that edition based on my level of excitement for the game.
I see. There's also been a lot of talk of the God of War PS4 Pro. Do you have any plans to pick that up?
To pick up what exactly?
The God of War PS4 Pro.
I want to, but I would feel some type of way if that came out and then they announced the Spider-Man Pro and I went and bought that one, and then they got the Spider-Man Pro that comes out. I'm gonna wait to see if they have a Spider-Man Pro. If they do not announce anything about a Spider-Man Pro coming close to the release of Spider-Man, then I may end up going and getting the God of War. I know it's a limited edition, but for some odd reason, I don't believe that edition will be sold out. So we'll just have to see.
Right. Myself, when it comes to buying special edition consoles, I usually don't do that because it would mean that I would have to sell my console at a loss and then make up for it. And then I'd have to go through the hassle of transferring the accounts and downloading the games again and stuff like that. I would probably say if I was to buy a special edition PS4 Pro, if they were to do that, it would probably be The Last of Us 2. I would probably buy a pro edition of that.
I wonder if they're going to do a Last of Us 2 console. I'm not sure that they're going to do it because if you think about it, by the time Last of Us comes out, it's going to be near the end of the life cycle for the PlayStation 4.
This is true, but it's also another console that they can slip in and sell before we move on to the next generation, because I believe out of all these exclusives that's coming out this year and next year, I think The Last of Us 2 is the most anticipated. So I could see something like that happening, even if it is towards the end of the generation.
But I think consumers have smartened up to that fact. You know, we saw it happen with The Last of Us last generation. If people see The Last of Us coming out at the end of the generation and then we get an announcement for PS5, an actual announcement from Sony themselves, then I highly doubt people are going to go out of their way to buy that because they're going to be like, you know what? I know they're going to release this game on the PS5, so I'm just going to wait for the PS5 version.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that people will do that.
Yeah. So my next question is basically my last one, because I've run out of questions. After God of War, Detroit Become Human is next. Is that on your radar?
That absolutely is on my radar. It's been on my radar since Quantic Dreams announced it. Um, I love games like that are heavily narrative based. I know a lot of people don't like that, especially the people who don't like reading. You know what I'm saying? Or the people who don't actually like seeing stories play out and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think the violence, the realness, I think the emotions that game is going to draw out of people, I think that that's going to be something that's unmatched by any game that releases, even Last of Us. I think that they're delving into a lot of situations or a lot of scenarios that other gaming developers do not want to talk about, such as like the domestic violence stuff, the child abuse stuff and stuff like that. The thing is, most people don't like to see um you know things that they're guilty of. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a big issue with this game for some people. Those people who like to beat the shit out of their kids and stuff like that, they'll probably be heavily against this game because it puts what they do in the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny, we can watch people kill people. We can play Call of Duty where you shoot people in the head all day or slice their throat, and nobody has a problem with that. But then when it hits home, you know what I'm saying? When you have the people who beat on their wives and beat their kids and all of this other craziness, they don't really want to see that type of stuff because it hits too close to home for them. You know what I'm saying? It makes them starts to think about what it is that they've been doing. And like I said, I think this game is going to invoke a lot of emotions out of people that they didn't even know was there. And I mean, David Cage, he has a good track record of making these games like Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, the Indigo Prophecy. All were great games in their own right. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure a lot of people will tell you that they think otherwise because, like I said, you got people who hate David Cage but don't even know the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you hate somebody you don't know? Like that seems almost impossible to me. But hey, look at Cliffy B. Most motherfuckers don't like him either, and they don't even know him.
Right. And the thing that people need to understand about Detroit Become Human is that every one of these scenarios have multiple endings depending on the choices that you made. So while you run the risk of getting a bad ending, you can get a good ending as well. With that being said, the game is going to add a lot of replay value to me, because if there's anything on there that I get wrong where I have a bad ending, I'm going to go back and make it right.
Facts. Facts.
So it is definitely on my radar. When it was first announced, it was number one on my radar, even over God of War. But the more gameplay I saw of God of War, the more hyped I got for God of War. Now it's to the point where it's like God of War and Detroit Become Human are neck and neck as far as my most anticipated games, and I absolutely cannot wait. And so that will do it for my questions. Is there anything else you'd like to ask in closing the show?
Well, I would love to ask all the people that are in the room to most certainly hit that like button. Um, if you guys enjoyed this interview today, there are a lot more interviews on the channel. He has one with Fatal, one with King Thrash, one with his friend, one with Vidiot. Um, and was that it? I think you
Yeah.
had.
Yes, but I definitely got others lined up that I want to bring on the show. Carlos Fernandez being one of them. And if somebody gets this message to Jay Wags, I would love to have him on the show as well. This Thursday on the Lincoln Show, I will be having a returning guest. This guest, he loves God of War more than anyone that I've ever known. He's loved God of War since day one. I will be bringing him back on the show and anticipation for the release of God of War. I normally do this show Thursday at 8 o'clock, so we will only be hours away from the midnight unlocking of the game. So basically, I want to do a show, building up towards that moment. So make sure you check that out Thursday at 8 p.m.
Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you guys haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to Lincoln Clay. We trying to get him to that 100 subscriber mark. I think this guy makes fantastic content. He talks a lot about a lot of the stuff like VR games, and he has a lot of stuff from MLB The Show, some Gran Turismo sports stuff. So if that sounds like some content you guys would like to see or see more of or be notified of, definitely hit that subscribe button. Lincoln, definitely thank you for having me on, brother. It's definitely been a great show. And shout out to the chat. And Ryan, I definitely understand what you're saying. I do get what you're saying, but I would love to have both. If they can minimize the amount of wires that we have going from that breakout box to the console, I am all down for it. Like I said, I'm down for the VR being baked in, but I also agree with you guys where you say you don't want them to skimp out on anything simply because they're adding that particular functionality. But the thing is, that technology is their technology, so it's not going to cost them anything extra to implement that into the console. That's what you guys are forgetting. In order for them to implement that, remember, they're not selling you the Kinect, they're not selling you the VR. You know what I'm saying? They're not selling you the headset. They're just making sure that your console is ready if you indeed ever want to pick up VR. So that's all it is. And if that is the case, because keep in mind, this is all speculation too. So none of this is actually factual. Nobody knows if any of this is true. We don't even know if the PlayStation 5 actually exists. From what I've heard, they say they have several dev kits out there, and those dev kits had like 32 gigabytes of memory, like all kind of crazy shit. Just crazy talk. But like I said, I definitely do agree with you guys when you say you don't want them to have to skimp out on something in order to add that. But like I said, do keep in mind that Sony owns a factory that makes their chips. And it would cost them nothing to put that technology into the system. The same way it cost them nothing to put that HDR technology into the original PlayStation. That doesn't cost them a thing.
I agree totally. And again, I second what Six said. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the chat chiming in. It was a lot of good stuff I saw going up the screen. Savage, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. And which one is it? Let me go back. Twisted Sin. Congratulations, and I appreciate it. You were subscriber number 50, so that was a milestone for me. Thanks for subbing. I really appreciate it, along with everybody else. I appreciate that too. I also want to inform everyone that if anyone is familiar with King Thrash, he hosted the Roundtable podcast. We took a vote on it, and we have a separate channel called the Roundtable Podcast. It is the same people in that podcast. It's just that the channel is its own entity now. So make sure you tune into the Roundtable Podcast Tuesdays at 8 Eastern. Also, I am a regular member of Sick Humors, the PlayStation Plus podcast. Make sure you catch that Sundays, I believe, at 11. Is that right? 11 Eastern?
11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes.
Make sure you check that out. Lots and lots and lots of PR PlayStation talk. That is the goal of that. Every now and then a little Xbox talk pops up, but it's primarily a PlayStation podcast talking about the games that's coming up, how excited we are for the game. So make sure you check that podcast out. And so with that being said, this is your boy Lincoln Clay, along with my guest Sick Humor TV. I really appreciate him coming on board. Thanks everybody for watching. We will catch you on the next edition on the Lincoln Show. We'll see you later, and we are out.
Deuces.